Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great week. Right here in time for Valentine's Day, I have a tutorial today on this face for you. It's a very sexy, smudgy, very lived in smoky eye, and it's meant to be just that. It's not perfect, it's not precise. Tried to keep it very user-friendly so that anybody of any skill level can do this.
You can do it!
We have a little change of scenery today. I'm upstairs in the guest bedroom. We're doing some work on our downstairs bathroom and I didn't want there to be too much noise. So again, this isn't the prettiest background and I apologize for that. It will be adjusted next time, but that's why I'm up here, because I wanted to get this out there and uploaded in time for Valentine's Day. So stick around, it's coming up and I hope that you like it. Okay, sexy eyes, here we come. I like to do eyes first, skin second, anytime I'm doing a smoky eye or working with darker shadows. That's just me. I think the cleanup is easier, and I will show you kind of some tricks that I like to do to make that process fast. So I'm gonna start with priming my eyes with my concealer. This one is a new one that I found. This is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Concealer. Now their Double Wear foundation is cult classic. Most everyone knows about that one. I mean, your grandma knows about that one. But
that's right.
This is their concealer they just came out with, the Double Wear Concealer, and I really like it. I'm gonna just pop a little bit on my lids, not too much, and take my damp beauty sponge and pat that in there. Okay, light concealer on the lids, and we're gonna set it with a powder, but the palette I'm gonna use for everything on my eyes is this one right here, the Tarte Clay Play Face Shaping Palette. Work mainly with really just those two shades for this smoky look, but I am gonna take a little bit of this matte kind of creamy shade Solstice just to set all over my lids. And I'm gonna take a Morphe, if I can pick it up, M504. It's just a nice fluffy brush, and just set that concealer into place. And you can use, if you don't have this palette, you can use a face powder, a pressed powder, loose powder, whatever you have, just something to lock the concealer down. If you don't have this palette, you see the two shades I'm using. You want kind of a taupey brown shade and then a dark gray shade. I'm gonna take Dunes and load that brush up, and I'm just gonna pack it all over my lid. And it doesn't have to be super intense. We don't want it super dark. We're gonna add some depth with that dark gray. And it also does not have to be super neat, which is a wonderful thing about this look. And I want it to come right up to my crease, maybe a little above. Everybody has a different eye shape. So one of my tips, something that I would recommend, would be to keep your eyes open while you're doing this so you can kind of get that placement where you want. That's a great way to make sure that on both sides they're kind of lining up where you want it to, by keeping your eyes open while you're kind of packing on this shadow. Took a little time and just built it up to where I wanted it. And again, it's not super clean, it's kind of messy and just pressed on there, and that is exactly what we want. But we have a nice wash of that taupey brown shade. Next, I'm gonna take my Morphe R37, and you definitely want a fluffier brush. We don't want super precise. This is smudgy, lived in, sexy, perfectly imperfect, like you didn't try that hard and you look just bomb. And I'm gonna take this darker slate shade here. It's actually called Smoke. And I'm gonna start by placing it right in the outer corner and working it up into the crease on the outside. Make sure you're tapping the extra off, because you don't want a ton of oversaturated product going onto your eye. We want the color there and the intensity there, but we want to build it up. We don't want it to be too much too soon, so make sure you're tapping off, especially when you're working with darker, more pigmented shades like this. I've got the outer edges where I want them built up to what I like, and I have not added anything else, and I'm gonna just sweep a little through the crease. So I haven't added any product. We're just gonna kind of add some depth to the crease with that same gray shade, and that kind of helps diffuse that edge of the taupe shade that we laid down. Now I'm gonna take a totally clean brush. This is a MAC 224. And I'm just gonna sweep that over those edges to make sure it's all soft and blown out. We are gonna add some black liner to the top. And again, keep your eyes open. Make sure that you're wiggling it right down in to that lash line. And it doesn't have to be neat. This little pencil looks so puny, doesn't it? This is the Makeup Forever Aqua XL in black. I love this pencil. It was a little sample that I got, and I'm using it to the bone because it stays put. It's very easy to work with. So liner's on both eyes. It is not perfect. It is just kind of thrown on there, but really smudged in to that lash line. Now I'm gonna take a smudger brush. This is from Morphe. It doesn't have the number on it. I apologize, but it looks like this, something a little bit denser. And I'm gonna mix the two shades, that taupey dune shade and the smoke shade, and I'm gonna smoke out that liner. Really try to wiggle it into that lash line. Now we're gonna clean up under our eyes and start on the rest of our face before we do our under eye shadow. I have a little cotton pad here with some of my micellar water on it, and I'm gonna use that to just sweep under my eyes and clean up any fallout. I'm gonna prime my face and get my foundation going. I'm gonna prime with my very favorite YSL Touche Eclat Blur Primer. And I'm working with natural light. I apologize if there are any weird casts kind of coming in from this window. I'm also gonna take my Clean Slate Timeless Pore Filling Primer, Smoothing Primer, excuse me, from Tarte, and just push that in to the areas that I feel need a little extra loving. It's Valentine's Day. That's what we're going for, right? A little extra loving.
Let's get it on.
Use whatever foundation you're liking at the moment. I'm going to use my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. Always remember to bring your foundation down your neck and onto your jawline and even onto your ears. I really like to blend in this area so that there's no separation there with the color. Just make sure you take out your earrings, because there have been so many times that I forget to take out my earrings and they all gunked up with foundation, and it's like, I know better. On to concealer. I'm using the same double wear. That concealer is so good. I really, really like it. Before I powder, I'm going to work on my lower lash line, because I think something about the concealer before it's set with a powder, it makes it nice and smudgy and it blends in and looks really nice with a smoky eye. And that way, if we do have any little bit of fallout, we can dust it away with our setting powder after we finish doing our under eyes. I'm gonna take my same little black kohl pencil and I'm gonna do a small little dashes under my eye, and then I'm gonna line my waterline, and then we're gonna take those two shades, the taupe and the smoke slate shade, and smoke it all out. now that I've got my under eyes done, I'm gonna go back one more time and make sure I don't have any creases in my concealer, and then I'm gonna set it with my Coty Airspun powder, as well as push them into the rest of my face. For me, I definitely have to push in powder over here in these bad boys and in my smile lines, because if I'm gonna crease anywhere, it's definitely gonna be right there. My brows can go from 0 to 1 billion like that, so I definitely want to keep them on the softer side, but by all means, you do the brows that you're comfortable with and you like. I just personally like a little bit softer brow with a very intense eye. Lashes are done. I just used my L'Oreal Lash Paradise. I didn't curl them. 2 coats on the top, 1 on the bottom, and I set my brows with my Glossier Boy Brow in brown. Next, we're going to move on to bronzing up the face. I'm going to take my butter bronzer and I'm going to stamp out these cheekbones. I always like to do my jawline and down my neck a little bit. For blush, I want to keep it very soft and in the very fleshy tone family, because I don't want anything too drastic. So I'm going to use this Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Blush in Exposed. These are wonderful blushes and they stay put for a very, very long time. My same big powder brush, and that was my Morphe E2 for my bronzer. This is my IT Cosmetics powder brush for blush. For highlighter, I am going to use MAC Oh Darling today. Use your current favorite one. I forgot my highlighter brush. I'll be right back. FYI, I have a very crooked nose, especially down here at the tip. So if I put highlighter at that tip of my nose, it's like it looks way more crooked than it already is. So I do like down the bridge of my nose. I love a highlight on the tip of the nose. It just doesn't work for me. If it works for you, rock it, do it. It looks so good, but for me, it's like it accentuates this funny little thing I've got going on here, and I don't want that. I'm also going to take just a tiny bit on this Morphe E36 brush and do an inner corner highlight. I'm not going to do a brow bone highlight, but I do just want to tie in a tiny bit of this highlighter in this color, and I love how this opens up the eyes. I'm going to take my Marc Jacobs Nudist lip liner and my Flower Beauty Mix and Matte Lip Duo. This is Melon Kiss. I'm going to go back with my highlighter and touch my Cupid's bow just a little bit. I have a very pronounced Cupid's bow and I really, really like when it's highlighted. And I'm also going to add just a tiny bit to my collarbones here. If you're wearing a dress or a blouse and your shoulders or your collarbones are showing, that's something I love to do, especially in the evening. It catches the light and makes your skin look super beautiful and healthy. Last but certainly not least, we are going to set the face, and I'm going to do a little bit of my MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus and my Morphe setting spray. By a little bit, I meant a lot. I like to take my sponge and push it all in so that those powders melt into the skin and it looks like skin. More like skin. Alright guys, that's it. This is our sexy, sultry, smoky Valentine's Day eye. I hope that you liked it and that it was helpful, easy to follow. Don't be scared of it. Everyone kind of has that moment with a smoky eye where they question life and what they're doing, but stick with it. It's gonna look beautiful. You're gonna look beautiful. And I hope that you all have a very, very wonderful Valentine's Day. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and feel free to add comments and tell me if there's something that you'd like to see next. I've got a lot of ideas, but I definitely love your feedback. So everyone have a wonderful week, wonderful weekend, and I will see y'all in the next video.